Okay, so in this video I want to talk about chapter 50 for Reckoning or Ragnarok. Obviously this video is going to be spoilers. So the new god we see in this chapter is Hades, the king over the underworld in Greek mythology. And we see him go to talk with Zeus and Hermes and Ares, probably obviously about the thing that happened with the new demon right now fighting Buddha. And we see them talking. Obviously Ares gets really afraid of Hades because he's the oldest brothers of the three of Zeus, Poseidon. So he's the oldest one. Hades is the older one. And yeah, we only know that he's the king of the underworld and he's the oldest brother of the three main gods in Greek mythology. And so on. And then later on we see in the chapter, you see the continuation of the fight between Buddha and the demon. And the demon used some kind of very powerful chain whip to cut through Buddha's holy shield and so on, and then damaging all this kind of thing. Yeah, that is probably all about this. But what I really want to talk about in this video is that if Hades, obviously it's different mythology, it means different underworlds, different heavens, different punishment, all of this kind of thing. So obviously it means maybe hundreds of different sea gods around the world. And it means hundreds of sky guards. For example, you have god who use electricity. You have Thor. You have Indra. You have Zeus. And you have Raiden. All of these three gods are using electricity. So Zeus is only the god over the Greek pantheon, the king over the Greek pantheon. Then you have Indra, that is king over the Hindu pantheon. But Indra is not the creator. Indra is the king of these different heaven. You have the creators, the three creators, Shiva, Brahma, and Vishnu. And this is the three that create the world. Then you have the king over the sky people in Hindu mythology. That is Indra, sitting on his elephant called Aravistus, his three-headed elephant. Yeah, and then obviously before chapter 49, before 50, we get information about one other god was Beelzebub. And Beelzebub was also called the Lord of Fly because it can transform to different flies, like wasp or a big fly. So he was a very high guard for the Philistines, people that is today Israel and like Palestine. And so the Philistines was a group of sea people that was very much influenced, has very much like Greek, like Dorian Greek style of vases, like sculpturing. So obviously before, a quick story. Okay, around 12 to 1100 BC, there was a big collapse, different things, earthquake, famines, invasion, many things together. Started a chain reaction that damaged lots of civilization. For example, the Hittites, the Macedonians, other kingdom around that area, like the Levant or around Turkey. And one of the most famous of the group of the migration people at that time was the Philistines. And the Philistines, one of the main gods we know very much about is Beelzebub. It was a very famous god, and he, yeah, and obviously because the Philistines was enemies to the Israelites, to the later on to the Judas people. They describe the Philistines in very, very, very bad light. Describe them as like demons. They drink too much. They are extremely violent. All this kind of thing, because in history, always the victors write down the history about the person that lost the war. For example, the same with the Roman and Carthaginians. The Roman described the Carthaginians to sacrifice their babies to their guard, and this is describing lots of bad things. But the same thing you can say for the Romans. They put people, their own people, and sometimes their own people. Then they put out the slave in Colosseum to sacrifice them for their own amusement. So, and this is what I mean. When Roman, always when different people criticize other people, they do the same thing in a different way, but still the same result. But the whole point is that that Beelzebub is not the same category of a god that Hades is. Hades is the king of the underworld. That everybody can go when they die in the Greek mythology. To go to Hades is not a punishment. Hades is not like hell. Like Hades is not the devil. Like you go to hell. Everybody in Greek mythology always go to Hades if they die. The only thing that is a punishment, that is Tartarus. That is the other god that called that person. Now that place, and now I don't remember his name. That is the punishment. There is the Greek mythology when after the Titanic War, after Zeus defeat the giants, like all the Titans, they were sent to Tartarus. They were not sent to Hades. Hades, everybody go to. There's another place that is more like hell, but it's not hell, but it's the punishment. That is Tartarus. And we still not have seen the king of Tartarus yet. We only have seen the Hades, that is king of the underworld. And I understand why some people mixed up Hades underworld with hell, because of many people nowadays, like Christian beliefs and other beliefs, believe that always underworld is like the devilish, hellish, horrible punishment, eternal flame, all this kind of thing. But that is not the case in the ancient world. If you think about it, like in the ancient world, when we have lots of different gods, like in Norse mythology, you have lots of gods. In Greek mythology, Hindu mythology, and other kinds of mythology, you have lots of different gods. You don't have that hell that the Christians have, like in the underworld and heaven. It's not. There's many different heavens, many different worlds. So when we see about Beelzebub is not a demon. Okay, he is not a bad. Okay, he's maybe punish people, but he's not bad. It's like the king Yama in Chinese mythology that have the horse head and the ox head, like the guardians of the underworld. They are not hell. There is a how can I explain it? It's simple to say, easy to say. It's the underworld. It's a different type of heaven. It's heaven made of earth instead of heaven made of sky. But instead, it's not obviously because it's underworld. You describe it differently, and so on. The example with Anubis, that's guard the underworld, and obviously Anubis is not evil, but he guard underworld. Like just because you guard something that is dark and muddy, don't mean that it's evil. But some people have the notions that just because if somebody rules the sky and the sunlight and all these things, that have to be always is good. But if they rule something that is dirt underworld, then it's evil. And you can say the only people really describe the underworld in very pessimistic description is the Hittites. They described that you eat, when you die, you eat clay and dirt and everything dark. So it's not a good, happy place to be in. But they never describe it as a punishment. They describe it as just a boring place to be in. Yeah, so what I think now, because we have two new gods in Reckoning of Ragnarok that was revealed: Hades and Beelzebub. So maybe in chapter 51 we're gonna have the showcase of Anubis and Shishwang-di and Apollo, because Hades was the only god in Reckoning of Ragnarok that was not on the list, on the first list we see with all the god versus all the different famous human. So I remember, if I don't remember wrong, but Hades was not on the list. So that means that we're gonna see more gods that was probably not on the list. So what I hope for, we're gonna see Indra and other gods from other mythology besides Hindu mythology, Greek mythology, and Egyptian mythology. We maybe see some other African mythology that from different, because different places in Africa have different types of gods. That is not obviously that was before Islam come to Africa, to North Africa, or before the Christian, all this kind of thing. They have different gods and this kind of thing. Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to read the chapter 50. Obviously, because now we only look at the spoilers, because now it's just released in Japanese and I cannot read Japanese, so I just see just for the picture and so on, and that is learned from this. He is Hades, and you see his underworld. You see his dog, like Cerberus, and you see his throne he sits on, and this kind of thing. So it's gonna be interesting to see who Hades will fight against, because we had all the other characters. For example, I say before, like Nikola Tesla probably gonna fight Rasputin. Nikola Tesla, sorry, gonna fight Sama Hayek. Nikola Tesla versus Beelzebub. Nostradamus fighting against Loki. Apollo probably gonna fight against Shishwang-di. Leonardo's fight against Anubis. And then obviously we have some of the other guard I don't remember the name of, some Japanese folk heroes and guard. And then probably reason why I don't think Nostradamus will fight against Odin is because I think they are a bit too similar in some sense. Both of them can see in the future. But obviously Odin cannot see in the future. He have the head of Ymir. That was one of the guards from the other part of the Norse mythology, that Freya and Mimir work in the same group, like nature guard, like control plants and all this kind of thing. And there was a short war. So Mimir can see in the future, but there is a reason I think they're a bit too similar. Odin with his abilities, and then Nostradamus predictions, and this kind of thing. So yeah, I think it's more likely that Loki fight against Nostradamus, and that's just my speculation for who will fight against who in continuation of Reckoning and Ragnarok. And then obviously then we have the other Japanese folk heroes, lots of Japanese characters that will come. I know nothing about, absolutely nothing about. So I don't know what kind of what kind of backstories they have and all this kind of thing. I do absolutely know nothing about them. But I think the English dub of chapter 50 for Reckoning and Ragnarok will come out this month 29. So today is 27, Tuesday. So on Thursday the chapter will come out in English dub. We can read it in English dub on Thursday, and probably someday after that, or maybe day after, chapter 51 will come out. Often with Ragnarok they do 2 chapters, because they take long breaks. If you compare to One Piece always released their new chapter each week, and then you have, after 3 chapters, you have 1 week break. But Reckoning of Ragnarok take a very long break, so that is the reason I think they do 2 chapters at the same time. So instead of just releasing 1 chapter each week and wait for next week, they wait lots of maybe 2 or 3 weeks. I don't know why they do this kind of thing, and they release it. Obviously they have there's more page in the Reckoning of Ragnarok. They have 50 pages compared to One Piece. They have only 17 or 18. So that is maybe they take longer time to written down all the pages on Reckoning and Ragnarok. I don't know, but it's like just take much longer time for Reckoning and Ragnarok to come out than One Piece. So you have to understand. Obviously, One Piece is older, have been longer out than Reckoning and Ragnarok, and they are totally different types of mangas. And this kind of thing, because One Piece is adventure manga, and Reckoning and Ragnarok is a battle manga. But you have in One Piece, you're already in right now 1019, so many chapters. In Reckoning and Ragnarok is just in chapter 50. But yeah, Reckoning and Ragnarok is probably pretty new manga. I don't know how old Reckoning and Ragnarok is really. If it's just 1 year or 2 years, I don't know. The chapter was looks interesting. I really hope that this is the end part of the fight between Buddha and the demon, so we can see other gods and other human fight and backstories and so on. Because it takes a really long time for all of the backstory. Some backstories are really long. The backstory least like was the backstory between Hercules and Jack the Ripper. Probably what the most, for me personally, I think the most boring backstory, because it was so long, and I think I like when something go quick, and we really got continuation with something. I don't wait so long, and obviously I'm very glad that when I start to read Reckoning and Ragnarok, there was always so many chapters. And I'm very glad I don't start reading Reckoning and Ragnarok in the beginning of the chapter with the fight between Hercules and Jack the Ripper, and have to wait like this long week to read this kind of chapters. Probably gonna quit. Probably if I was that, and if I start to read that chapter in that time, I probably would quit, because I really for me to read that part of Reckoning and Ragnarok, that backstory with Hercules and Jack, was so long and so drawn out. It was like really painful for me to read it, because it takes so long. And I really don't like these kind of chapters that when you have to wait so long and the backstory is forever and it means nothing for you. It's just like you just want it to end and to see something different. And this is not really like this now with Buddha and the demon. It's not really like that, because they are more interesting characters. They have more, especially Buddha, have more interesting weapons like the spear, the shield, and his future side. You can see in future before somebody do something. Right now we can only see one eye because obviously he was damaged of the demon. And now it's also making it more interesting because now we also have the first demon in Reckoning of Ragnarok that is fighting in the arena. So that means that we're gonna see more demons, and maybe they're gonna be like be a Ragnarok, and some of the guards are gonna join up with the humans, and some of the guard are gonna join up with the demons, and the guard together. For example, Loki probably gonna be the guy, be probably one of the leaders for the demons, and Beelzebub, and some of the guard will work with the human, and together they fight guard with human, demon, and guard against. So two, like this kind of war starts, and so on. So what I mean with this is that, I mean that Loki and some of them work with the demons, and Aphrodite, Zeus, and some of the others work with the humans, and together it's becomes kind of a civil war, because to take control over the king of the place of heaven right now, because in Reckoning of Ragnarok, Zeus is the leader over the gods in this manga show, manga and so on, and this kind of thing. So that is probably it's a possibility that can happen in the future of Ragnarok. That is going to be a big war, and the god will work with one side against the other side, and so on. Because I don't think we're gonna have the continuation of just the battle, and then somebody lose. They're gonna come to the next ring. They're gonna happen something to make it so that the whole start of the meaning of the fight gonna end, because some more demons will be released in somehow, and because in the end of chapter 49, Beelzebub talks about that demon that they escape, and the demon, obviously one of the symbol of the two dragons that come out from the seven unlucky guard, from his horns, the guard that dragon was on the painting on Beelzebub's wall in his lair, and so Beelzebub knew something about that, but we don't know if Beelzebub will join up forces with Loki. That is something like an alliance that we don't know yet about. Beelzebub and Loki, they work in secret, because it's something with Loki that is strange, and we know from Nordic mythology that Loki was the guy that wanted to start release all the giants as punishment. There happened something, he was punished, and then he released Fenrir, the big wolf, and he released Jomanganda, the big serpent, and all of them start fight with the god, and obviously then Surtur come, the big fire giant, and so on, and then the Ragnarok started. So that is a big possibility. Also, the story will be different, because it's a different Ragnarok is different compared to Norse mythology, but they have a lot of gods from the Norse mythology and Greek mythology. But I think they're probably going to have one similarity, is that with Ragnarok that Loki will start something, and my speculation here that Beelzebub will work with Loki in some way to create it, and this kind of thing. And maybe we're gonna see also Aphrodite fight, because I think some of her golems, I think, can fight, will have some kind of ability. I don't know what kind of ability. They just do strength. For in the mangas, they can move around. They carry her on their. They are 5 of them, so So two of them carrying her on their back, and one of them hold her. Yeah, obviously, because yeah, I don't really have to say, but you know, if you have watched the Netflix show, you know, and you read the manga, you know probably why. The Aphrodite in the Ragnarok is the only. I think you can just say that she is a fan service for some of the fans in some ways. Yeah, and I don't know if she can fight, if she just there to look pretty to be a fan service, or she have some kind of secretly weapon. I don't know. Just because right now no, we don't yet see any female fighters yet in the ring in Ragnarok. I don't know if we're gonna see it. I hope so. Well, all of them, it was just man, but we know that it's female guards and the fight. But most of them that we know from other mythology, for example, Hindu mythology, we have Durga, Kali. All of them was they made them in specific way in the Ragnarok, and you can see it as a bad thing, or yeah. For me personally, I know this is a manga, so I don't take anything really seriously about it, because it's just manga, it's just a thing written down on paper, and they make everybody look silly in Ragnarok. Yeah, if you look at, for example, Ares, he probably looks the most silly of all of them. All of them looks really silly, like really silly characters in Ragnarok. I don't think there's anybody. Probably Buddha is the only one that looks not silly, and all of the other looks really almost like a K-pop, J-pop image style, almost like. Similar to, for example, Dynasty Warrior or Samurai Warrior, they look very much influenced from like J-pop and K-pop style of their hair and their clothing and all this kind of thing. So they don't. If you look at them, they don't look like the stereotypical North and Greek guard. For example, you see in God of War and other game or in books, they look very much like K-pop stars. Yeah, and I think reason why I like Buddha in Ragnarok, because he looks very different in comparison to some of the others. He looks more like I think Buddha and Shiva is probably my two favorite characters right now in Ragnarok. I think they have the coolest design in Ragnarok, and so on. Yeah, and that is everything I really want to say in this video. And I will do a review for One Piece for chapter 1020 when it come out on Friday. Obviously, as I said before, all of the spoilers will come out. Some of the spoilers is already out. So if you don't want to be spoiled of anything, like any image and so on, my recommendation is to, if you just want to read for yourself, my recommendation is to don't follow any One Piece user. That specific if they do reviews on chapters, and wait. Then follow them again after you have read the chapter, because I promise you will be spoiled. It's almost impossible to not get spoiled with One Piece, because most of the people, like not everybody, but most of them, we always have on the thumbnails a picture from the new chapter, what I want to say here that is, I think is very important, is this. If you don't want to spoil anybody, that means if you put up a picture that belong to the new chapter, then you spoil somebody. Because if people don't know about this character or this new form for that character, people are gonna get spoiled. So I know that this will make that more people click on it because it's an interesting picture. That means for thumbnails that it's interesting picture that on the screen they click on the YouTube video. There is a reason why people click on the video, because if you put up something that before anybody else, for example, if you put up the new transformation for Yamato's devil fruit, everybody wants to click on it because they don't have yet see that transformation. Or who is this character, and click on it. But if you just do a black page, black thumbnail, and written down with white text, spoiler warning, nobody gonna click on it because it looks boring. And that is the same for every types of content, from manga, from anything that have to do with spoilers, new TV shows, movies, all this kind of thing. So there is a reason why it's so hard to not spoil people, specifically if you're only a anime watcher and you don't have come so far in One Piece as the people that read manga, and that means it's hard. It's really hard to find any balance there. How can I not spoil people that only watch anime? But I think if you only watch anime, okay, I have to be totally honest now. If you only watch the anime for One Piece, and that is totally okay. I don't want to criticize anything about that. I just want to say like this. Then you have to accept that people that read the manga, and manga have been longer than anime, you have to accept then that people want to talk about the new chapter when they come out, always. So you cannot be angry at people because they are much further in the manga than the anime. My recommendation is instead to follow only people that talk about anime, because then you're on the same page, and people that read the manga is on their page, and so on. Because I think it's important, because if you cannot tell people what to put up and all this kind of thing, because it's like if you, for example, you have two cars and you tell somebody that have a very quick car like a Ferrari, and your car is a really slow car, and you get angry because you lost again in the race. You know that when the manga have come much further, and people will put up thumbnails that spoils, and some people spoil, do it very mean way to spoil people. Some people really try their best to don't spoil. They really try their best, but you have to understand, it's really hard if you're a small YouTuber, because then you have to use different picture for One Piece that is probably spoiler picture, because you want views. For some people really want that. So what YouTube can do, this is just my recommendation. That's what I think, is that they can put up like some kind of a spoiler. Okay, I really have to think here how, if I don't say wrong, but a spoiler category. So for example, you can put up like I don't want any spoilers, and you don't gonna see any spoilers if you have that put up. And if you say I don't care, you're just gonna see spoiler. So some kind of a wall that protect you from spoilers in YouTube, but people can still put up spoilers for people that don't really care or just want to see what happened beforehand and all this kind of thing. That is something YouTube can do, that people can choose for themselves. Do I want to see spoilers? Do I don't want to see spoilers? But people are gonna put up spoilers, and what people, because the first thing people will see when they go into your videos on YouTube is your thumbnails. That is the first thing people will see. So don't really matter if you say spoiler warning. If you say spoiler warning after they already clicked on the thumbnail, they already see that picture, and the pictures are already spoiled them because that character has not yet been in the anime, and so on. But more people will click on that picture if it's a spoiler picture because it looks more interesting, because it's a new thing. That is how things works in YouTube and so on. And this kind of thing. Yeah, so that is just my recommendation, is if you don't want to be spoiled, if you're only an anime watcher or you're a manga watcher and you don't have yet see anything about the chapter One Piece 21, don't search on the chapter, because then you will find spoilers and so on. Try to see other things to that you read that chapter, and so on, because if you search on something, you will find it, and YouTube will recommend you on things you search on, like other things. So for example, you search on One Piece and chapters, probably YouTube will see, aha, you search on One Piece, maybe we're gonna give him the latest information to that person that search on this kind of thing, and you will get they show things that you probably don't want to see yet, because you want to see it when you read the chapter, and so on, and this kind of thing. Yeah, that is really everything I really want to say about everything in this Ragnarok talk, and so on. Okay, bye.